Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be examining whether you are actually ready to have a relationship. Yes, I know it sounds funny to be asking, are you ready to have a relationship? Because you're going to say, yes, of course I'm ready. Of course, I've been ready for years, but I'm not finding the right people. The right people aren't coming my way. I'm not attracting the right people. I'm just attracting weirdos, or weirdos are coming my way. Thank you for stopping by. Please like, share and subscribe if you've been enjoying the content of this channel. The goal of the channel is to help you to find your soulmate and to be in relationships that you are happy to be in, and to be able to navigate relationships to help you to live a fulfilling life. Are you ready for a relationship? Well, there's some basic qualities. There's a basic positioning that you have to have that will actually help us to know that you're ready for a relationship. And at any age, you are able to find a soulmate. Really, at any age. There's no shortage of men and women. I've often said that. There's no shortage of men and women. It's just how prepared are you, and are you prepared to go out of your comfort zone? So, being ready for a relationship includes the ability to be able to share. Are you willing to share? Are you willing to share your resources? Are you willing to share your time? Or are you just looking for an accessory? Sometimes, again, us ladies are very guilty of that. We have, especially when we've reached a certain level in our career, in our journey of life. Maybe we've got our own house, we have our own money, we've got a good high-flying job that we're happy with. And I remember a friend of mine saying, I've got everything else, I just need the man. And I said, what, like a handbag? Is he like an accessory? Or are you looking for someone that you can share with the things? And sharing, I'm talking about sharing space. Believe it or not, some people want a relationship, but they don't want to share a space. You have your space, I have mine. We'll agree to go out and do things together. You pay for everything. You must be willing to share space. Your space and sometimes his space. You must be willing to share your space. Some women, they will not entertain somebody coming to visit them at home, to see them in their natural state. They always want to look good, and there's nothing wrong with looking good. But the reality of having a long-term relationship means that you cannot always be in a state of made up. There's an everyday you that the person that you want to have in a long-term relationship with has to be able to see. What do you look like first thing in the morning? Can they come and knock at you on your door and you'll be able to let them in your natural state without any makeup? Some of you want a relationship, but you never want your partner to ever see you without makeup. Come on, this is not realistic. You are not ready for a long-term relationship. Second thing that you have to be willing to do if you're ready to show that you're ready for a relationship is you have to be willing to take feedback. Hello? You have to be willing to take feedback, because two people, can they walk together unless they agree on certain things? No. And sometimes the way that you see things might not be the way that they see things. And so you have to give permission to each other to be able to feed back to each other. Some people see that as criticism. They don't want to be criticized. And it doesn't have to be negative. It can be done in a positive way. This is how what you're saying is coming across, for example, rather than say, why are you attacking me? Why are you attacking me? No, this is how you're coming across. This is how I'm feeling about what you're saying and doing. Again, it could come from, maybe you're both coming from different perspectives. So it's inevitable that sometimes you're not going to see things the same way, or your intentions are not going to be appreciated because of the way that you're doing it. I will never forget when I used to expect certain things from my husband that were realistic to me, but he didn't understand why. Like, I would come in and I would expect him to come and meet me at the door. And you'd be like, why? And it was just an expectation that I had. I don't know where I got that from. Again, you have to think about your habits. What annoying habits might you have that you're okay with, but might be very irritable to the other person? And this is where we have to give permission to each other to be. There are some things that I do that is not okay. But sometimes there are things that I do that the other person tolerates. And so you have to understand how much you can tolerate and how much you can't tolerate. But in order to even get to that stage, you need to give permission to each other to feedback about things. Are you prepared to do that? To have feedback? For someone to come and see you without your makeup? Come on, ladies, especially us ladies, I'm talking to you. Guys, are you able to allow the lady that you're seeing to be in her natural state and not criticize her? I know lots of men actually prefer natural looking women. They actually do, but there's a misunderstanding between the males and the females about what the others desire. A lot of women will say, well, I'm just dressing up for myself. I like how I look. And the other men are looking at her and thinking, she don't look good, but she feels she looks good. This is where feeding back to each other is very important, because sometimes what we think is important isn't actually important to the men. And what men think is important, we're not taking it seriously. So there's a mishmash. There's a misunderstanding between men and women sometimes because they're not listening to each other. Ladies, we're not listening to what the men are saying is important. And we're doing what we think is important and wondering why we're not getting the result that we're looking for. How is that going to work? We have to listen to each other. Men have to listen to what women say they need, and women have to listen to what men say they need, and then we find a middle ground. So, are you ready for a relationship? Are you ready to listen to what the man says they want, even if you don't agree? Because we know men are very visual. They like, a lot of men don't like artificial looking women. I'm not saying that some don't. They don't want blow up looking women. They don't want women that they've got too much cosmetic surgery done to them. We often do that for ourselves because we think it makes us look better. But we want to attract a man. We want to attract the attention of a man. And if the men we're trying to attract are not attracted to those things, then we need to hear their feedback and say, maybe ask a friend that looks nice, like the kind of man you would like for a relationship. Say, look, what do you think about this? The way I look, the way I dress, the way I have my makeup done, and so on. So you have to be willing to listen and take the feedback. And for those who are not willing to share, you never pay for anything. How are you going to be ready for a relationship when it's one-sided? How would you like it if you had to pay for everything, women in particular? Would you like it if you had to pay for everything? What is it that things have changed now? It wasn't like before where women were not working and the man was the only breadwinner in the house. Now, women are working, men are working. So it's not unreasonable for you to share from each other's resources. On the first date, quite okay. It's still customary for the man to be the one that's asked the woman to come out. It's fine. Don't ask him to go to a very expensive place where you know you will not spend your money like that. What's that saying? What kind of communication are you giving? You're looking like someone who's taken advantage already, and you want to be in a long-term relationship? Come on. Are you really wanting to be in a relationship when you're always putting additional financial pressure on the other person? Let's think about that. We're ready for a relationship when we're prepared to be fair, when we're prepared to allow the person to see us in a vulnerable state, a little bit of vulnerability, and when we are ready to take on some of the costs of the relationship, when we are prepared to give each other feedback, when we're prepared to work on ourselves or work on things that we are still dealing with to help our relationship to be sharper, to be stronger. This includes taking care of our health and well-being. It includes making sure that we are not always late for a date. I'm talking to myself there. I remember my very first date. Fortunately for me, I made extra effort. But there are some people constantly keeping your partner waiting for hours. That is like showing no value for their time. Think about it. Is that fair? Is that sound like someone who's ready for a relationship? When people are always constantly waiting on you? Even in friendships, we need to work on these things. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just speaking to myself as I'm speaking to you, that these are the things that show that we're ready for a relationship. You have to work on being the best version of yourself and not saying, well, yeah, I want this, I want that. Are you those things that you want? Are you reflecting those things? We often say that do to others as you would have them do unto you. Would you have someone do that to you and think it's okay what you are doing to that person? Think about it. Think about it. So if you are ready for a relationship, you need to think, are you selfless enough? Are you committed enough to work on yourself? Are you willing to take feedback? Are you willing to spend some of your money? And are you willing to listen to the other person's feedback or perspective on a situation? These are some of the things that will help us to come across as if we're ready. Sometimes we have not been successful in relationships because we have allowed our financial means to become a defense. Because I have money, I can get anyone I want. I just need to click my finger. Especially guys, they use their resources as a means of getting women. Whilst that might feel good, it's not going to make for a lasting relationship, guys. You'll have what we call disposable women, the ones that you can use and abuse and dispose of because you're using your money, your resources to catch their attention. But the one that will be there for you for the long haul will not show up. You'll get the ones that what we call gold diggers. Are you a gold digger? If it makes you feel good for a season, that's fine, but it's not going to make for a lasting relationship. So let's examine ourselves. Always start with yourself rather than pointing the finger at the other person. Remember, as you point the finger to the other person, you have the other thumb pointing at you. So deal with your own excesses before you see the excesses of others. Take out the plank in your own eye before you see the speck in your partner's eye. Thank you for watching. Give it some thought. What are you doing now that makes you feel like you're ready for a relationship? Let's have your thoughts in the comment section. Let's have your thoughts. Let's have your learning. Is there anything that we can learn from to help us to be able to be ready to have that long-lasting relationship and ultimately to find our soulmate? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.